Thank you for taking the time to click on L.O.R.E. Please subscribe here and don't forget to follow us on twitch.tv/L.O.R.E Liveplay.
It fits better now, doesn't it, Chris?
I'm not Chris. Who is Chris? I am Sir Reynold Ramsbottom, and I am here to welcome you all to the Guise of Untamed Beast or something like that. I can't remember, it's been so long. Hello? It's very noisy in here, I can't really think. Yes, hello, welcome to the L.O.R.E, the League of Rolling Expeditioners. My accent changed, hello. We are so happy to be back. We've been gone for so long, and now my voice is going to back to this. Okay, so I am going to just thank everybody for tuning in. We got 5 viewers already. That's more than I've had when I stream my video games. I don't stream. Brain. Hello, hi again, starting over. Go to you, Matthew, save my life.
Yes, thank you, Sir Knight of Many Words. Hello, everyone. I am Mathew Garro. I am the Dungeon Master for the Guise of Untamed Beasts. And it has been, many months since we were last visually on screen for all of you. And there have been a lot of changes. The story has continued behind the scenes, but with me, we have some familiar faces and we have some new faces. So why don't we just start over and reintroduce everyone? So on my screen, to my right, we have Roxanne. Roxanne, introduce yourself. Who is your character? And by all means, continue.
Hi everyone, I'm Roxanne. I play Moon, who's a ASMR druid.
Ooh. And below we have Miss Jody.
I guess I should unmute. Hi, I am Jody Krangle. I am playing L.O.R.E, who is a cleric. Human. Yeah, human.
Woo!
We'll say human.
Human it is. Following suit, we have... let's see. I don't know how how this works. It's kind of going a little bit over. But we're going to go down below. Colin. Colin, introduce yourself and your character.
Hi, my name's Colin. I play Ordain, which is a dragonborn blood hunter. I wanted to say blood fighter for some reason.
I mean, that sounds pretty badass, too.
Blood fighter.
I'm a blood fighter. Let the blood fuel my blade. And now vocalizing themselves, we have DG or Dylan or
the Didge.
Yeah, cool. Hi, I'm DG, Dio Garner, or whatever you want to call me. I am back playing Azazel Starflower, the Hobgoblin Wizard.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. And we have here Miss Lexi.
Hi, I'm Lexi. I'll be playing Luminary. She's a Kyle's belly dancer, so.
And of course, last but not least, we have our wonderful host, Mr. Chris.
Hey! Which one of you guys pushed that button? Hey, what's up? I'm Chris. I play Trovik, the confused barbarian that thinks he is an orc, but is actually a minotaur. Or he's on a mini tour. I don't know. So, haven't figured it out yet. Adam Oto 64. Hello. Okay.
Yes, and that is. Here are all our players. I am your dungeon master running, and those. I'm certain I'm going to get questions, so I'll just kind of get it out now. Yes, I have a fantabulous little mustache going. Great. But I will do my best. Well, I think I'll do my best for the players here if I need to recap anything beyond, but for everyone else, I apologize. I will do my best to get those audio clips out that give us a little bit of recaps of behind the scenes of what have been going on in the past episodes. But to recap the most previous scene that we have.
With a lot of V-words?
A lot of viewers. Awesome, thank you. Previously returning to the Ramlo farmlands, all of you returned Samantha, the missing child, and kind of got together to discuss what to do next, and found yourselves, well, notified by Sylvia Hamia Silverleaf, the mother of L.O.R.E, who had notified that there was a few individuals that came to town to visit, and they took with them the little creature that you had adopted. Heading back to the Harvest Square Tavern, you come across Zilri and Orn, two members of your troop that previously had to venture outwards to do their own bidding. One mysteriously disappearing, the other deciding to return home to, go fish.
Literally.
But an afternoon of drinks and merriment and catching up was had until you returned to the Temple of Shantea, where you had a pleasant evening meal and bedded down for the night. The following morning, you discussed the actions, what needed to be done about this tree speaker. And it was decided that Orn was only here to bring Zilri, catch her up to speed, and then return back home to follow in her commune's, task of finding themselves a new home. She agreed that she'd help in whatever way she can, but combat wasn't her strong suit. So offered to watch Doxia and the new Minotaur companion they had recovered from the Hag's Lair and previously freed, now in not necessarily their employ, but giving them their gratitude for saving her and freeing her. The Minotaur Voda decided to stay behind and kind of keep watch as well. The five of you gathered your belongings, what you could, what you felt you needed, and headed back to the Lilac Grove, east of the Ramlo farmlands into the Tierney open wilds, and came upon the same locale that you had previously encountered the tree speaker before she unfortunately drove you off. It was quiet, empty, and no sign of any individuals or her on site. Azazel and Moon taking the time to sneak about the area, finding this small sunken cave in the hillside where she emerged from last time. No clues, no signs of anything that was in there, possibly just vacated. Coming out of the hillside and signaling to the rest of them that it was all clear. Scoured about the area, kind of looking amongst yourselves and talking, when Moon noticed that there was some movement in the pond, the river that kind of traverses through this section of land next to this giant lilac tree that grows in the center of this grove, and decided to wild shape into a giant crocodile and submerge herself into the water. At the bottom of the pond itself was this large mass of vegetation, some algae, some soot and dirt, but nothing really that caught her eyes. She felt a bit of strange current kind of just pass through, as if kind of like forcing her in one direction or another, but to no effect. And noticed these small little as compared to her, bluish stones that kind of laid at the far side of the pond as they began to sprout a few legs and kind of begin to crawl, looking like these crab-like creatures. The rest of you kind of scoured around the sides of the shore of this pond to kind of keep an eye to see if there was anything going on. And Trovik, you spotted these blue orbs, these blue crab-like creatures, which are very familiar to you. The same crab-like creatures that you fought in the warehouse back in Simyaza. And now we find ourselves in the midst of, well, we've already rolled initiative, so let's just start the fight, shall we?
Oh. Hey, welcome back to L.O.R.E.
Welcome back to L.O.R.E.
You didn't miss anything.
We're starting it off with a bang.
This is D&D, man. No talking, just
so
rolling dice.
At the top of the round, let me just unpause that. I do hope that all of you can see this, but we are using Foundry. We are, as a sidebar, actually, I wanted to mention this, and actually this might be fun for you guys as well. I have learned over the past several months that a few other D&D players and people that I have met and befriended have mentioned that they have indeed bought Foundry because of our advertisements. So
Hey.
props to us, props to Foundry. It definitely works, and we definitely love it.
It is the best.
You're welcome, people who now use Foundry, and you're welcome, Foundry.
Hey,
Thank you for explaining that.
Foundry. Foundry.
What I do.
I think we've met our quota for Foundry for the free advertising, but
See if I can
Well,
get
Well, how many
talking
more
about
times
it.
do I have to say Foundry? Foundry, Foundry, Foundry?
as many as you so choose.
Maybe more like 7 times.
Oops,
Sometimes.
wrong one.
I'll sprinkle them in.
Yeah.
It
It needs
is
to
in
be. It needs to sound natural.
I'm gonna cast.
Yeah.
Use your own
Foundry.
words.
I cast Foundry.
Foundry.
Foundry?
Foundry.
All right.
Oh,
But-
no.
We'll start at the top of the round with Luminary. We
Oh
have
shoot! I forgot I
some
was at the top.
yeah. You rolled the highest initiative at
Wait,
25.
who's Luminary?
Woo! You currently stand at the edge of the shoreline here, and we're having a hard time kind of making out Moon as the giant crocodile, even a large-sized reptilian creature as she is. It's somewhat deep enough that your perception of this lake kind of eludes you, but you do see movement, some ripples above the pond itself. What do you do? How are you going to kick this off for us?
I cast
Oh, God.
Fist.
No pressure. No pressure, I promise.
No pressure. So can I see like the things going towards her? Like,
As it currently
vaguely?
stands, they are far enough into the pond and on the other side that you can't quite see. I would say you're unaware. The only Trovic is currently aware of the crab-like creatures that are at the bottom of the pond, and Moon herself. But the rest of you, some of you can see where Moon is, and you can see movement in the water, ripples above the water where there's nothing really there. So it's a little confusing. I'm not sure if maybe there's something deeper below that's caused, but there are no air bubbles that kind of just pop up. Let's say from something breathing below. It's just
How far would you say the ripples are? From me?
I would say about 50 feet, and they kind of jostle around. You gather they're shifting through the pond itself around where you last saw Moon as the crocodile. So roughly in the center of this pond.
Mhm.
So you
I
kind
don't want
of
to accidentally hit Moon.
you kind of see them kind of like
That's
going
not
through
good.
here and a few over here, but they're kind of like wrapping around and they're kind of centering around her mass.
I'm going to cast Cloud of Daggers 3rd level on the very corner of them, so I can at least hit a couple and try to avoid Moon if I can.
Okay. Where would you like to cast this spell? Cloud of Daggers. I think that's a 5-foot square cube, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So we'll say about
Like, kind of like here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
all right. Is it above water or is it below water? Does it specify? I don't remember off the top of my head.
It doesn't specify, no. It just says a creature takes 44 slashing damage when it enters the spell area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there.
So you fill the airspace there. All right. So the air above the pond itself is now this whirling, almost like minor cyclone of these small, like, and you can see like the shine of light kind of like pass along sections of it as if there are blades there sitting in place and just spinning and whirling but there are no blades physically there. It's just the wind ripping through so fiercely. All right, cast your spell. Anything else you'd like to do? You still have bonus action if you have the ability to do anything in your movement.
I'm gonna move to here,
All right.
and that'll be it.
All right, that ends your turn. So, Ordain, you're coming up soon, but which one is this? If I click the right button, Moon, you see below the water as you're there, these blue orbish creatures begin to move towards you. So, I'm certain it'll pop up for some of you, but it begins to kind of like get underneath and then slowly kind of float up maybe about 10 feet towards you. And it's going to go for a bite attack. As this large kind of like mouth that you wouldn't expect a crab to have just kind of bisect and open up as this big black darkness of where it's most of its torso is just kind of like attempts to bite at you. Is a 15 hit.
Yeah, 15 hits.
All right. Not too bad. You take 6 points of piercing damage as it kind of clamps onto your small appendage there, and one of the claws that kind of like are on its side just kind of swifts through the water and tries to stab into your scaly hide. So it's going to try and go for a pincer attack. Maybe not. 23. I'd assume 23 hits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn pizzers.
Damn pincers. Not too much damage. 5 points of piercing damage as well. So now it's just kind of like slowly you see the little spindly legs that it has kind of just whipping very quickly as it's like floating in the water just below you. But you see another one kind of slowly swimming over. What's its movement speed again? Yeah, it can just about make it up to you, and it's as well as going to do the same thing. One bite attack, and then one pincer attack. That is a 17.
Yeah, that hits.
Oh no.
That is 10 points of piercing damage, and then another pincer attack. It goes to bite onto your other leg.
I am now reverted back to Moon.
Oh no.
Oh.
That was unfortunately very quick. All right. So,
Crocodiles don't have a lot of HP.
There goes planned fireball.
so for those that can see, especially Trovic, because you are able to see into the lower, the deeper parts of the water, you see the large crocodile. The two of the crabs make their way over and begin like. You're not sure what they're doing, but they seem to be harrying at Moon, and eventually her body mass just drops back down to her normal form, and she's maybe about 10 to 15 feet into the pond itself. But the crab's gonna make its last attack against you. I think I rolled for that. That is an 8. So this is against your regular armor class.
8 does not hit me.
You quickly, in the moment that your body just kind of shrinks down, it gets a little, it was expecting to hit this large mass, and it just through the water. And
Beauty.
unfortunately, last but not least, the third one kind of makes its way, swimming just above. It's going to try and make its bite and its pincer attack against you. That is a 7, which I do not believe hits.
No, a 7 does not hit.
And this one, I'm hoping it's low. It's low. 8.
8 also doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like these things are smart. They're agile, quick in the water, but they were all going at once. 2 of them landed a couple of hits. The rest did not so much, considering they were aiming for a larger creature. But that ends their turn.
Guys, the dungeon master's rooting for us.
I'm rooting for you all to survive.
Please do not
That
die
doesn't
by
mean
my
I'm going to
crabs
make it
and
easy.
crocodile.
It does not mean I'm going to make it easy. right. Moon, seeing as you're the only one in the water and the rest of them are kind of just standing out there above shoreline, and for those of you that don't know, Moon has a tendency of, diving right in the middle of things and pressing the buttons and getting herself into a lot of trouble.
Because she's a child.
Because she is a child.
What's this button say?
And you get one of those
Oh, do not push.
child
That's what we
leashes.
love her for.
The
says
little monkey
don't.
ones.
Yeah, the little
Don't
monkey
push. My
child
finger was
leashes.
in the way.
The current begins to shift and move again, although this time it feels a lot stronger now that you're not in your crocodile form, and you feel it beginning to almost, not necessarily whirlpool, but tighten around you.
I do not have a life jacket, guys, by the way.
You find yourself, I'm going to assume a 25 hits unless you have something otherwise.
No, 25 hits.
You take 15 points of bludgeoning damage as you feel the water almost constrict you, bind you in place. You're not necessarily swimming, but you're just kind of held in place within the water itself, as if being grasped by vines or rope of some kind. You are technically grappled and restrained.
Whew, that's a rough round.
It's unfortunately a rough round. But you do not see anything within the vicinity. You're uncertain as to why that is the case. However, Trovik, being at the edge of the water, you see the water begin to ripple nearby, and you can see that Moon seems to be in distress of some kind as the water begins to spout upwards and just start to almost snake into a spout, and then you see this, it almost looks like a snake-like face emerge from the water, but there's no eyes, no mouth. It's just the water, just amorphous form, just kind of make itself known to you as it tries to constrict you.
Oh boy.
What the fuck?
Oh.
Okay.
Well,
That is a 22 to grasp.
yeah.
You take 19 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are grappled and restrained. At the stand, and the rest of you now see the water, the pond itself, just kind of the water just emerges. This serpent-like amorphous spout of water just kind of immediately just wraps around
Wait.
Trovik and starts trying to drag him into the water.
Did I rage and have you roll for me last session or not?
No, we didn't.
damn it.
We didn't get that far.
I mean, $20 says I did.
It's almost. It's almost. You're strong enough that you're holding your ground, but it's trying to drag you into the water itself.
Oh shit.
Ordain, it is your turn. Moon, you're on deck, and the rest will follow.
So I'm gonna first run up here. What all can I see is going on?
You currently see the water itself physically grasping Trovik and trying to drag him into the pond. That's all you currently see above water.
And I don't see Moon at all. She just kind of disappeared into the water.
Make another perception check for me.
All right. Perception.
Start off strong, guys.
12.
12. You can see you can see her shape. She doesn't seem to be moving too much. You're not sure if she's still floating down there. You realize that she's no longer a crocodile, but she's just kind of sitting in spot.
I'm gonna see that there's 2 other people there to help Trovik out, so I'm going to go ahead and try to dive into the water and see what's going on down there.
All right. You quickly. The shore is maybe about a few feet, a foot or two, as you wade in, but it's not until you get maybe about, I'd say over here, where it starts to get a huge drop, maybe about a 5-foot drop, and then as you get closer towards Moon, it gets a little bit deeper, but not too deep.
Alright, so I am able to get all the way over there, though.
Yeah, you can definitely get around. You move over there, and you can see that there are these 3 monstrous-looking crab creatures, blue in color and just somewhat like rock, but not quite. like these small 4 blue yellowish beady eyes and these large mouths that kind of just open up into the rest of their torso. It's pretty gnarly looking. But you see Moon is like, they're surrounding Moon, but they're not attacking her, or at least not at the moment, and she just looks as though she can't move. She's bound in some way.
All right, so
If her bones start
I'm
breaking,
going-
I'm out of here.
Hopefully not.
Oh no, Stranger Things 4, Vecna, no.
so I'm going to go ahead and pull out my longsword and use my. It's been a while. Which one do I have?
Somebody? Thank you.
I'm going to use my Rite of the Frozen.
Okay.
And
just let it go.
yep.
Let it go. Let it go. I don't remember the words.
That's it.
I watched it once. That was
All you
it.
need. Just let it go.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna stab one of the crab creatures. I'm gonna attempt to.
The one closest to you, I would
Yes.
assume. All right.
That is
What
a
is-
11 to hit.
All right. This is a slashing weapon, correct? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, in the water, non-piercing weapons have disadvantage.
Ooh.
Oh.
So you'll have to roll at a disadvantage. So roll me one more time.
Yep. So that's still an 11.
Still an 11?
Yep.
Well, I haven't looked at these things in a while.
No rivers of blood for you.
No, unfortunately, 11 does not hit. You go to try and swing, but the resistance of the water kind of slows you down, and it just quickly spinning its legs, it moves just out of reach. But now its attention is on you.
All right. I'm gonna take my.
It's your first attack. I believe you have another attack.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my second attack, and seeing that Moon is currently being restrained, I saw the water creature out trying to grab Trovik, right?
Currently, Trovik is being wrapped up by the water itself. You kind of put two and two together that
Yeah.
Whether it's the same one or a different one, the water has Moon bound.
I'm going to attack in front of her, not hitting her, but just, just getting right before where she is, seeing if there's a body of a creature there that I just can't see because it's in the water.
All right, make your second attack. It is a disadvantage.
So that will be a 10.
Oof.
A 10. You kind of, again, the same thing. You're just whiffing through the water itself. You do leave like small little ice crystals as you kind of like pass your blade through due to the frost right itself, but it doesn't seem to make perch or any contact. You're just making like these little small ice chunks that kind of like, snowflake up and then quickly disintegrate back into water. That is your action. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
Yeah, I'll just stand there and be angry that I can't hit shit.
Kick rocks.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Moon, you are up. Azazel, you're on deck.
Can I cast spell or use my head underneath the water?
I don't see why not. So long as it's not overly complicated. But what are you thinking of doing? You are
I would like to cast polymorph on myself.
sure.
Hell.
Yeah.
What are you turning yourself into? And hopefully I
I
have a token for it.
Turn myself into a killer whale.
I don't have a token.
God.
Don't have a token for that.
Oh. I'm not surprised by Roxanne's thing at all. I'm surprised that you, sir, don't have a killer whale token.
I
That's
think I have every
absurd.
beast except a killer whale.
I think she's gonna smack Ordain.
With their tail.
You see,
Ordain's gonna go
you see
flying.
Ordain just fly out of the water.
Or they can just ride the whale.
Hey, Free Willy.
Oh, heck yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
sick.
I feel like it's like a pretty
Nice.
good service.
That's good.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in a giant crocodile, which is the equivalent size of Moon.
Jeez.
That is a killer.
There
Does she even move in the water?
At this point, give me 1 second. Let me just give her a quick permission to use the item, the token.
It's
There we go.
deep.
So you, sh-
Not
so you
deep
should
enough.
now have access to
Yeah.
use the giant crocodile. But I'm honestly going to say, you're no longer grappled. You're no longer restrained. Your body grows so large in mass that the water begins to pool out of this pond. It's not a large pond,
I know.
especially for a creature of this size. Yeah, no, you're now kind of like
Oh
sitting
god,
at the,
she's
your
gonna
belly's,
flood the area.
at least in this part here, your body's sitting, your stomach, your belly is sitting at the bottom of the pond, and like half of you is over top, but you are this massive killer whale in form, just kind of sitting there, dry docked in this pond, surrounded by like maybe 5 feet of water at best. The rest of you
That's
see just like a
really-
whale just.
That is exactly what I wanted.
I will gladly
just
say
wanna-
you know.
That is exactly
myself
what I
a little forward here, like squeeze a bit, and kind of like either push the crabs away, or now they're like on top of me.
How do you move?
I will say that the two,
Or I like squish them, but I don't know how that would work.
they kind of get pushed back due to your sheer massive size away, and all of you now can see. I would say at this point you can see, just because the wave of water and displacement of water itself is just gonna, and they all kind of like emerge from the top of the water, and you see like these scary looking crabs with spines all along the backside of their carapace, large mouths and pincers for days, and a giant killer whale. But
That's
you
okay.
you see the water itself begins to create this another spout of, almost like another spout of a snake, and it just kind of emerges.
Somebody needs to get in there and say, "Die, monster whale! You don't belong in this pond."
There we go.
Guys, wait, I can speak
Flesh.
Yeah, that is your action. You are no longer restrained and grappled. What else would you like to do? I mean, I don't think you can cast spells yet.
Yeah, that's everything. That's my
That's your
turn.
turn. All right, Azazel, you're up. Trovik, you're on deck.
Oh man,
Okay.
I don't know.
Seeing all that happen, Azazel's gonna be like, "Oh shit, okay, all right, we're doing this. And he will draw his short sword and begin going into his blade song, and start doing his fun little combat magic dance. I'm going to step into the water a little bit, to just keep in range of this first snake guy, and maybe like grab some of these crabby crabs' attention.
Now, mind you, in that spot there is the whirling dervish of blades in the air that you can see.
Oh, that's what that square is? Never mind,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Don't
You
step
might,
there.
you might not want to enter that.
Don't do
Well,
it.
I'm gonna do the thing I can do and take 2 swipes at this snake here, grappling Trovik. First one's gonna be a booming blade. So.
All right, go for it.
18 to hit on that booming blade.
Yeah, 18 definitely hits.
Booming blade.
Booming blade. The 4 sworded damage, 8 piercing damage, and 5 thunder damage, and it's now sheathed in the booming energy.
Bathe in the booming energy of your booming blade.
And then second short sword attack is
Oof.
10 to hit.
Unfortunately, a 10 does not hit.
Yeah.
The first one definitely hits, and you make contact, and it's almost like the water just kind of breaks, and you hear this crackling sound within the water. It's kind of like it ripples all the way around. You don't hear any sounds, any screech from this creature. It kind of momentarily laxes on Trovik, but then quickly strengthens itself to try and continuously binding him and drag him in. You make your second strike, but it seems to just pass through this time. It's as if it prepared itself. You kind of just make it through. It doesn't seem to do any harm or have any effect on it.
Okay. After the 2 swipes, I'm just going to yell out to mostly Luminary and L.O.R.E and say, "Moon's bought herself some time. Priority right now is Trovik." and then I'll call out to Pepper in my brain, and he'll take his action to just fly over here,
Okay.
like 10-ish feet above the island, and he's gonna hold his help action,
right.
and that is my turn.
All right. Which is he's gonna use his help action against which creature?
He's gonna hold his help action for like the next time I take a melee attack next turn.
Okay, so when you make a melee attack. All right.
Yes.
That ends your turn. Trovik, you are up. Lark, you are on deck. Trovik, you are
Ugh.
currently grappled and restrained by this creature.
Alright, I am going to stand there and think about it for a very long time. Just kidding, and I'm going to engage the rage. Wait,
The loud
hold on.
bull cry. There it is. There it is.
Minotaur's out of the maze, and you're gonna get the horns.
Then eventually I'll get one of my weapons.
That was so good.
Thanks.
The soundboard.
That's so great.
You're going to get. I will roll for it. Sure.
Go for it. Roll a d8.
All right.
Let's see what happens on the table.
Oh dear God. No.
It's
no.
your favorite.
No.
Oh no.
Please
Is it the
no.
plants?
I think
Yep.
so.
No.
It's the
Flowers and vines temporarily grow around you until your rage ends. The ground within 15 feet of you is difficult terrain for your enemies. So, in
Yeah,
Trovik fashion,
that.
every time he bouts in rage, a series of vines, plants, and flora just kind of sprout and crackle off of his body, surrounding the area in just an immense amount of growth.
Super manly.
Vegetation.
Are
Like-
we sure it's a D8 and not like a D1?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing, but
It's
it's
just
a very
like
good question.
rage, and then
Plants.
and then all of a sudden like look out for danger, and then
Pretty much.
oh, flowers.
Flowers
Hello.
for days.
Trovik
If you
is
were
here.
blue, we'd call you a
Your spirit
Smurf.
belly's got quite
Yeah.
the green thumb, buddy.
Oh man.
But
Okay.
the vines do kind of like creep into the water a little bit
Yeah.
as well.
Good. That is threatening. Trovik knows.
That is your bonus action. You still have your action.
I am going to be very upset with that and whack 2 times at this thing if I can. Wait, am I still grappled? Yes.
You're still
right?
grappled and restrained.
Do the vines like push out and they're like, "Help me! Get off of Trovik!"
I'm gonna roll for it. It's a curious thought. I'm gonna roll
Angry
for it.
vines. I'll roll for it.
You know what? Yeah. It's enough force that this creature, this element of water, just kind of like did not expect all these plants to kind of just start absorbing into it, and it feels like doesn't seem to be in pain, but it gets scared for a moment and just releases you. All the water just kind of like splashes off, goes back into the water, and then reforms into this amorphous looking snake-like entity. But you are no longer grappled and restrained.
All right. Yes, to the vines, useless, but not this time.
Not this time.
Yeah, that's why Twitter shut it down.
Oh man, the vine.
Oh jeez.
So then we got TikTok. That is a D. That's a D6.
Oh boy.
I will attack
Crazy.
2 times with the great axe.
All
The
right.
great,
It's a
great,
great axe.
great axe. It's a super great. It's not that. All right. Roll number 1 with advantage.
Are you doing reckless?
Yes.
Reckless attack.
Super duper reckless for $20.
All right, go for it.
He has no wreck.
Look at that.
22 is definitely gonna hit.
All right. I will deal the damage. Oh yeah, and this is a great bloody axe too.
Ooh.
So I don't know what the properties of that are yet, but it is 16 plus 2 because my rage damage. So 18 Trovik damage.
So are you using the blood axe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I use one in freaking in Elden Ring too.
So it deals an additional 2 points of damage and a d6 necrotic damage.
Oh shit! Okay, so
Whatever.
Math.
What did you just roll? It was 16 plus 2.
Plus
So-
6.
So that's
2,
18 plus another 2 is 20.
plus
And
a
now roll your
D6.
d6 necrotic.
What's a D6? Aw. 1 Trovic damage.
21.
That is from the orc side.
His damage can drink now.
Mm-hmm.
Your blade you're just like, ah! And you just swing wildly through the water. It cuts through the water, and it looks as though the necrotic definitely has an effect.
Yes.
It is actually a magical weapon. I forgot about that.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, it just, and you can see the necrotic energy that's brought about by this particular axe just seems to give it great harm, but not so more than you would expect.
Huh. Cool.
Are you sure it was the blood axe and not the other axe?
I have Great Bloody Axe. April
Great
4th.
Great bloody
The only
axe.
2 notes I took in that session was Great Bloody Axe, Trovic, Moon swallowed by frog.
Yeah, he got the blood axe.
I got the important things.
The
I mean,
He
we
got
can
it,
just.
I don't know
oh, it's
Oh no.
okay. I remember what it is now.
Uh-oh.
It's not
Okay.
the. It's fine. We're gonna leave it as
It's
is.
to Trovic, it is Great Bloody Axe. I ask no questions.
I remember what it is.
I
Now.
just swing it.
Yeah, go for your second attack in the meantime.
Okay, oh, that's right, I have second attack. Okay, advantage again.
You already
because-
had attack. What about second attack?
It's like second breakfast.
Yeah,
Yes.
that movie's fresh in my brain today.
Oh my god, yes, that was perfect. Thank you. 23.
23 definitely hits.
And what is that? I can't see. Oh. What does that say? 5 plus 2. And is it? Do I'm adding the 2 additional?
I'll
2?
say for this one you do, but the weapon itself does not have those properties. But
Well,
I'll just
then
say for
I'll
thi-
just
well,
7.
no, that's okay.
7.
7 total plus your 2 rage points.
No, 7. 5, and then 2 for this. I'm counting
Okay, so
with fingers because Trovic cannot count.
7
Dude, the
points
barbarian class has way too much math.
Yeah. There's lots of
I can't do calculus.
reverse math is so hard. You mean subtraction?
Yeah. You make your 2 swipes at this thing, and you're carving into it, and you can see the water is like faltering in place. It's becoming a little bit displaced. Its form is shriveling in size, but it's still kind of floating there at your attention, ready to strike back at you when need be. But it's definitely, you gather it's hurt for sure. But after you make these 2 strikes, you feel in your body, you just that old battle rage, kind of like you're raging, but it's
Yeah.
more of like the old days
Yeah, good.
with the orcs and your family.
Yeah, Trovic
It's-
work.
and it's a little more bloodthirsty than it has
Mm.
been recently.
Hmm.
But does that end your turn?
Yes.
All right, Lark, it is your turn.
Lark raises her hands, looks up, looks over at her friends, and then she casts a bless spell at level 3. So it should
Okay.
get all of them except for me.
So generous.
Nice,
3,
nice, nice, nice,
4,
nice.
5. Yeah. I
5,
believe it.
because she gets 2 extra when she casts it at level 3.
Oh, dope.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So all of you are now blessed.
Yeah.
You can add a D4 to your attack rolls and
rolls.
saving throws.
Yes. Yeah. And does she, I mean, I guess it would be an innate sense of this, but does she think that Moon might be less than half her hit points?
Make an insight check.
Okay. Just a second. And I will figure that out. There we go.
Figure it out.
Oh, sorry, I rolled it twice, I think. and I didn't make a very good one. So never mind. I got an 11 the first time, and that's the one that would count. So never mind. Yeah.
You're a little uncertain as Moon is now currently a giant killer whale.
Yeah.
And
Hard to tell.
hard to tell considering it's a big mass of blubber.
Yeah.
You don't see any scratches, any telltale signs that she's grievously wounded.
Okay.
You might have to hold off on that one.
Okay, so I am going to hold off on that one. Really, there's nothing else I can do unless I'm going to do an actual like melee attack, and that's not happening right now. So, I guess I could technically get my bow out and take a shot at one of the crab things, but I don't know if I want to draw their attention. This is a concentrate spell.
You guys!
It was your action, unless you have a bonus action feature.
That was the bonus action, actually. I think
Bless was-
casting Bless is a bonus.
No, I'm pretty sure
Beach.
Bless is an
Oh, no,
action.
you're right. It's an
Yeah.
action. No, you're right. Okay, then that's basically my
Unfortunately
action.
not.
Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. That's it.
Sounds good. Ordain, sitting in the water itself, being actually, you had been slightly displaced. Now that I see your token, probably this way. You get almost pushed back to shore, but you kind of see now that the water has somewhat lowered a little bit, and you definitely see this moon sitting there, kind of covering up this mass section of water. But you see, you know that large mass of vegetation that was at the bottom of the pond, that was like slowly swaying, just moving with the current itself. It's moving a little bit more, and then kind of just almost like in a uniform motion begins to rise up. And you see all of you eventually watch as this hunk of algae, vegetation, and plant life just emerge from this pond of water.
Sorry,
It's just-
guys.
it's like a massive plant.
Oh,
Well, that's not me.
Oh god, it's the swamp thing.
Kind of hear like a low moan.
And some 80s music.
What the heck did we walk into?
Yeah,
can we
All
back
the
out?
characters.
Yeah. Can we leave now?
you're more than
Oh,
welcome.
good.
You're more than welcome to try.
Well, Lark, run.
New plan. Run
Save
away!
yourself.
Yeah, but a moon, it's right in your face, this big plant, and you see like the vegetation, the vines kind of like curl up together to make almost like a giant appendage, just to try and like smack you in the face.
Wait, don't whales eat vegetation? Like,
Does a 13 hit a killer whale's AC? I would assume it
It
does.
does, yes.
All right.
Shamoon hungry.
It's 15 points of bludgeoning damage. And you see a second appendage kind of like wrap around itself and make another whip-like arm and just in the side of the face. And that one is a 25 to hit.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
Oh!
Yes. That
We're
one is
gonna die.
16 points of bludgeoning damage. And just- yeah. But you are currently stationary as this giant plant is just kind of like harrying you. All of you see this giant mass of vegetation just appear out of nowhere.
Torovik is very confused.
But that's the end of the round. It's the top of the round. Luminary.
I'm just gonna.
You see a massive amounts of creatures that seemingly have been left behind for a reason.
Oh, God.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna look at Trovik and just slightly just do this because of his fucking vines everywhere.
Would I get something in my eyes?
They don't seem to bother you or affect you. The plants just kind of like weave around your feet.
And I'm going. Wait, okay. How far would you say the crabs were? Could I get them in a 30-foot cone from where I am?
In a 30-foot cone,
Mhm.
you would probably hit the water creature in front of you, Moon, maybe Ordain, maybe one of them. Why are there all these like spell tokens popping up?
Sorry, I'm
Guys.
looking at a potential range thing.
It's a 30-foot cone.
Yeah.
You would hit,
Bloop, bloop.
if you angle it, depending on how you angle it, you will literally hit everyone except for either Azazel or Ordain. One or the other. So-
I'll do it where I
So
hit.
I will place it down for you as an idea, but you are literally going to hit everyone except either Ordain or Azazel, one or the other, depending on how you position it. You're going to hit Trovik, you're going to hit Moon, you're going to hit all the crabs, the water creatures. And
Why
this
don't you
giant
move a
plant.
little to the left?
If I
Yeah.
move to the left.
I mean, it's only difficult terrain for enemies.
It's only difficult terrain for enemies. You still have your full movement.
So if you move a little to the left, then your cone can, at least get the water creature, and a couple of the crabs, I think.
If I move
Would I have to
in the
move like
right
here, or
way,
would I
can
have to
hit
move
everyone.
up?
Mhm.
Depends on where you want to go.
I want to try to hit as many as I can. In like one thing. So, if I hit here, would that be able to reach?
Well, from your position, you're still going to hit Azazel and Trovik and Moon.
Mhm.
That's fine.
No matter which way you look at it, you're 100% going to hit Moon.
They'll be okay.
you were-
It's not
I'll
going to
say-
hurt them.
I'll say if you were to move maybe around this area using your full movement, I can leave it at that. There's a chance you'll get all of them except maybe one crab and not hit everybody but Moon.
Okay. Yeah, so here.
About there, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to.
And what exactly are you casting?
I'm reaching into my bag and I'm pulling out the lantern.
Nice.
Oh.
And I'm going to open it.
Oh, shit.
And position it so it hits as many of them
All
as I
right.
can.
Okay.
Dope.
You pull out the very intricate looking lantern with the green flame that you found within the hag's lair. You kind of point it in the direction. Are you aiming to get Azazel in this as well, or no?
I can take it.
If I mean
It
he'll be
is you know what what will happen.
Yeah.
All right. You open up the lantern itself. There's no oil, there's no smoke in there. There's just this ever glowing green flame, and once you open the small plexiglass frame, the flame begins to erupt and just fire out almost like a flamethrower and just if I remember correctly, it's a dex saving throw.
Yes.
As this green flame just kind of encompasses everything, except for, I'd say, probably this one over here. So,
Get the marshmallows.
so Azazel, you need to make a dex saving throw. So do you, Moon.
And
I
we
would
get
probably
to
say
add
at
D4s to it.
Hosty.
I mean, Moon would most likely be making it at disadvantage due to being grounded.
Fair.
But you can add a d4 to it. So
Your
That's a
parents
dirty
grounded
20
you,
for me.
so
Dirty 20.
disadvantage.
Oh yeah, remember you guys get to roll a d4. Extra.
Luminary, what's the DC here?
It says in the actual description DC 13.
DC 13. Okay, so Azazel, you succeed. What did you get, Moon?
Don't forget to roll your extra d4.
I don't know how to find the dice from Foundry.
Oh, that's because on Foundry it's the coding version, so you have to do, if I remember correctly, / roll and then d20, and then just add whatever the dex modifier of the killer whale is, which is 0.
0.
If it's difficult for you, just roll on D&D
That
Beyond.
worked.
Hey,
That is 5.
nice.
5. So unfortunately, you are hit by this fairy fire flame that emerges, so you are now attacks at you are made at advantage, and you cannot go invisible. The first one succeeds at a 15. The second one succeeds at a 14. The water creatures, that's a 16. Oh geez.
Hey.
I tried, guys.
You got an 11. So the one that is directly in front of Trovik is lit up with this magical green flame. It doesn't seem to have any harm to it, especially considering it's fire and water merging, but it's sparkling this green glow that's permeating off of it, and you can see that it's kind of snaking into the water itself and kind of just disappearing. And last but not least, the giant mound of grass at a natural one, which is 0. So yeah, this thing is now, if it was not green before, it is now definitely even more green. It's a glowing green pile of moss and algae. But that uses up the one use of the lantern as the fire expels outwards, and then it's now just a regular, very ornate looking lantern.
That's fine.
That is your action.
Yes, that is my action, and
You have your bonus action. You can inspire someone.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking
Or
about.
any bonus action spells.
Huh?
I think I will inspire Trovic.
No.
All right. Trovic,
And I'm
The inspiration needs to go that way.
just gonna,
That's not
after I like shoot my fire, I'll be like, dude, look how fucking cool this is. You gotta continue this.
So yeah, Trovic, you get a D8 that you can add
Oh, right.
for the next 10 minutes.
Shit.
Bravely.
More math.
All
More
right.
math.
Does that end your turn?
Yep.
Okay. It looks as though it's everyone else and then Ordain.
Everyone else.
then
Then
Ordain. Oh boy.
Holy
Oh
shit.
my. That's what you mean by
That's
everyone
a lot.
else. Oh my.
Now that you all can see, they've all emerged over the water itself. Everything is now on the field and can be seen and is now fair game.
That's a good thing I'm on a bridge.
This crab-like creature, being displaced onto the shore, quickly scuttles across the shoreline along the lilac tree, goes to you, Ordain, and it's going to make, using its disgusting open maw, to make a bite attack.
Not the lilacs.
Not the flowers, anything but the flowers.
Yes.
That is a 16 to hit.
Oh dang! Oh gee golly! I guess that hits.
All right. That is 8 points of piercing damage, and then one of its claw-like pincers does a side swipe and tries to get you along the side, which is 12.
No. That was
12.
not
You
hit.
block it up with your long sword covered in ice, and just kind of like the pincer freezes ever so slightly in contact and kind of just recoils away. But you defended that second strike. It's the end of its turn. This one. Is this
DG
thing-
looks like he's about to rap. He's like going back and forth.
Oh, sorry. I just.
He's
do
like,
that.
I'm ready.
I
I'm
must
ready.
throw down a mad.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Spit some mad lyrics on this track, yo.
I'm gonna say no. This thing
About to
isn't smart
go.
enough.
Just let me.
So
let
it's
me
gonna
out.
pass. It's gonna pass through swimming,
That's just my idle animation.
partially above the water, in through the cloud of daggers.
Yay.
A creature takes slashing damage when it enters the area for the first time or starts to turn. All right, so roll your 4d4, Luminary.
Okay, hang on.
44.
D&D Beyond
Not
said
44.
I don't work anymore. Okay, here we go.
I'm
Actually,
sorry.
it's I did the 3rd level, so it's 64.
Oh, you did it at 3rd level.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Ooh.
You cast this at 3rd level or higher, it's 64. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, that doesn't really help. So 14.
14 points of slashing damage.
I
You don't
rolled
know-
like majority of ones.
You don't know that. Every bit helps. You see this crab-like creature kind of like just the top half slowly going through this cloud of whirling air. And you see the tops of it. It's all these
Nice.
spines and protrusions, and they all just begin to just get chipped off like going through a blender. And you see like this brackish blood just goes spurting all over the place, and you hear like in the waters, all the water's getting sucked into its mouth, and it kind of just submerges for a moment just to get away from it. And it'll get about to there next to Azazel, but it comes across on the shore, kind of like almost like in a slightly unbalanced in a drunken haze, just kind of like catching its breath or whatever the case may be. It's just the top of its carapace is just covered in gores. This thing did not realize it was there. But it's
Dumbass crab.
it's gonna make it's a dumbass crab. It's gonna try and make a bite attack at you, Azazel.
That's
Yeah,
Dumas.
Dumas.
Dumas mich.
That is a 10.
That's a big ol' miss.
You're very familiar with this thing. You know what you understand how roughly it works considering what happened last time.
Oh, yeah.
But its pincers 16.
Also a miss.
Yeah, you're easily you just kind of use your longsword to put it in its place, block like holding it against its mouth to kind of like stop it from fully biting, but it even seems to not necessarily have the full energy to go full force into the attack. You block off its pincer and it just kind of takes a couple steps back, a little slightly woozy. But ends its turn. The last one. I'm gonna roll to see
walk into those daggers.
I'm gonna
Walk
roll
into those daggers.
I'm gonna see if it's stupid enough to do it.
Eh?
Yeah, roll your 64 again as this thing moves around a little bit. It was actually gonna go attack the giant whale in front of it, but saw that the other one was attacking the the humanoid on the shoreline, and did not realize that it was gonna go through a blender.
Ooh.
I rolled a 14 again.
Nice. 14 points of damage. Yeah, like the first one, it clearly didn't see or clearly didn't learn from its companions' mistakes and just blenders through the top of its carapace. It emerges on the shoreline in a gory mess and following suit, attacking Azazel. Actually, because I keep forgetting that Trovic is there because of the tokens, it's going to make one attack against Azazel and one against Trovic. It's going to go for a bite attack against Azazel. 24.
Well, yeah, no, that's gonna hit. Even if I did shield, that would hit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, 12 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
And then kind of reels back using whatever energy it can. It tries to thrust into Trovic using one of its pincers in his side. Realizing it's at advantage, but it doesn't matter because I rolled a natural 20. And I think you guys remember my crit rolls.
Bruh.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Oh no. That is like bad, sad trumpet.
It's
I'm
which
in
is-
trouble now.
I remember
I
them.
do
It's
have
been
rage going.
You do have rage, so it will be at reduced damage. Just let me do my math again. It's really not a lot. I just, can't remember fully what the hell I did.
Roll max damage and then roll again, right?
Yep.
I think that's what I had said. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Like you just
Maximum.
add your max and then you
Oh yeah, that's right.
roll
So,
one.
so in this case, it would be 3. 11 plus. Well, I won't account. Ooh, 11 plus 7 is 18 points of piercing damage, reduced to half, which would be 9 points of piercing damage to you.
Pussy
Right.
crab.
It's a little messed up. It's the vines around it did kind of throw off its footing a little bit, but it's got like these pincer spindly legs, so it takes up very little space in spots. But is it able to still make its purchase?
It's the rhododendrons.
Mm-hmm. The first. Let's see. This one's going to swim through the water and kind of like emerge from the other side.
Oh.
I just realized they're called water weirds.
Yeah.
It sounds like a place I want to go to.
Water weird.
Oh, let's go to water weird.
The fantabulous wacky water world of weird contraptions and slides.
Water
Oh
weird.
no. But it's going to attempt to grapple you, Ordain, as you are partially submerged in the water.
Remember
Work.
that you get an extra D4 for avoiding that.
That's right.
It is not a saving throw, it is an attack roll.
Oh, okay.
But I think I rolled poorly at an 11. Nope. You see it coming. You see the water just kind of emerge, and even though you're dealing with the crab in front of you, you kind of whip around and hold your frost blade up, and it tries to go and grapple you, but the water kind of like passes through the ice, and you can see the ice kind of like coalesce around it and kind of like stop it in its tracks, and it recoils. You can actually this time hear like this splashing of water, almost like a gurgle, and it kind of pulls back away from you. But that ends its turn. The last one's gonna try and make another strike at Trovik, trying to
Trovik.
drag him into the water again.
Oh,
Is that advantage?
Trovik, son bitch.
17.
Yeah, that is.
17. So you take 10 points reduced to half, which is 5 points of bludgeoning damage. You are grappled and restrained again.
Ah, son of a bitch. Greased up, ugly, naked, deaf guy would be very disappointed.
See y'all next year.
You'll never get me. I'm just here to get some groceries. Oh,
Ordain, you are up, Ordain, and Moon, you're on deck.
So, yeah, I'm gonna try to kill this crab.
All right. Kill the crab. Kill the crab.
I'm gonna try to kill it now.
First,
Oh yeah, 25 definitely hits.
yeah, and then I'm gonna roll the second attack, 23.
Okay, both hit. However, what you don't realize, as you strike into you can still roll your damage, but as you strike into the crab, dealing this ice damage to it, you can feel like this acidic fluid kind of just spray out from the wound and hit you, and you take 6 points of acid damage.
Ooh, fun. In total with both attacks, 6 points.
6 points of damage from both attacks?
Yeah, or is it
Alright.
6 points each?
Well, you rolled 2 attacks. Did you
Yeah.
roll the damage dice twice?
Yes, I did. So the damage is 10 and 7, so 17 plus.
Oh no, so
2d6.
it's 17 points of.
I was asking about the acid damage.
Oh, I was confused. You take 6 points of acid damage. That's it.
Oh, okay. So
Uh,
17 plus 7.
17 plus 7. Yeah. With those 2, even though it retaliated somehow with the spray of acid, you just slice through this thing with ease.
Having crab tonight.
He's dead, Jim.
And that'll be it for me.
This was this one. This one is dead. All right. Moon, you're up. Azazel, you're on deck.
So the killer whale is going to bite the green thing.
All right. You do have advantage because it is hit with the fairy fire.
Kaiju battle.
Kaiju battle! Did you see the killer whale just kind of like open its mouth? You're muted.
It's 20 to hit.
Yeah, 20 will hit.
Roll 5,
And
6 plus 4.
That's a big bite.
So that's going to be 24 damage.
that's a big whale.
You just see the whale open its mouth. Moon just chomps down on this appendage and just rips it off and just begins chewing it like it's, cud.
And
Yeah.
that will be my turn.
Unfortunately, the killer whale has 1 attack, and unfortunately, you are still grounded. You could probably move maybe a few feet, but it definitely would be a reduced amount considering you're practically in a puddle in comparison. You're just like up and off.
Can I override this one then?
What do you mean?
Like, there's the small crab on the bottom left. I want to push in his face, push him away.
Okay, sure. You're using your massive body. Let's just make. I'll roll an athletics for it, or just a general strength. You give me one as well. You get a +4.
Yeah.
Whatever to a d20 roll.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's hard to maneuver.
What was that?
Oh, what?
She rolled a natural 1.
Oh, we know we got something for that.
Dodge
Oh, no.
jail. Dodge jail.
I haven't heard that in a while. Yeah, unfortunately, there's not enough water to help you
Move that
swim through. So it's kind of, you can still move, but you're not unable to forcibly push the crab away as it's kind of like holding its ground.
Okay.
As a note, did you actually still want to move because you'll be moving into the whirling blades,
Oh.
or do you want to move in a
Listen,
different
I didn't
direction?
think you would turn into a whale.
I'm gonna stay here then. I had forgotten about the whirling blades.
Okay.
Oh no.
We're gonna be making lots of soap today.
Oh no.
Oh god. Azazel, you're up. Trovic, you're on deck.
Okay.
Cool. So I am going to first cast Spirit Shroud on myself. So
Jeez.
you're gonna see frosty blue speckled owls start to flit around me in a 10-foot radius. So it's going to reduce the movement speed of enemies within 10 feet and give me some extra damage. Next, I'm going to take 2 swings at the water weird, with the short sword, first one being Booming Blade.
You do have advantage because it is fairy fired.
Awesome. Love that.
2 short swings on the water weird. Where was that? Take 2 short
First one
swings on the
is
water weird.
a 25 to hit.
Definitely hits.
Awesome.
Nice.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba- 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 ba-
With
ba- bum.
2 short swings on the water weird.
It's 5 piercing on the short sword
Mhm.
and 4 thunder damage for the booming blade and an additional
From the spear shroud.
And then
2 cold damage from Spirit
2
Shroud.
cold damage.
Anything
and
else?
then
And then I take a second attack,
Oh my God.
also at advantage,
and then
which is a 27 to hit,
Yeah.
and
And
then
and I do 11 piercing damage and
then
7 cold damage from the Spirit Shroud.
All right. You take your 2 swipes at this thing in front of Trovic, and it's enough between the spear shroud, the booming blade, and your magical weapon just to kind of like slash through the water. It displaces it so much that it just kind of, you hear this very faint gurgling noise as it immediately evaporates. The smoke kind of just fills the spot.
Cool.
Just no more.
Cool. And I'll say, Trovic, I got the crabs. You go take care of that other water weird thing.
you should probably see a doctor.
Says the person with vines coming out of his
I
body.
think you just realized what you said.
That's a good one. And then I'm gonna tell Pepper to hold another help action, except instead of for me,
Mm-hmm.
Pepper's gonna perch up in this tree here. I can't get him in the tree. He's gonna perch up in that tree,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gonna hold a help action specifically for Ordain's next attack. So he's gonna make sure Ordain gets advantage on his next attack.
Alrighty. Trovic, you are up. L.O.R.E, you're on deck.
Alrighty. Going to continue with the rage of the awesome super duper plant flowers and whack this water weird 2 more times.
He's just gonna whack it.
So the one in
Just
front of you
go whack it.
has already been destroyed.
Bop it.
There's the one that's maybe about 10 feet away. So you can kind of like just, well, it's no longer deep water, but
Yeah.
maybe about a foot and a foot and a half. Just kind of like bringing the plants along with you.
I'll use my not so difficult fancy terrain to travel with me and walk up to this guy. What this is he still here? This one right here?
No, it is technically dead. I can remove it
Oh.
if it's tricky for you guys.
Nope, it's okay. I will go to this one. I'll be like, here comes the pain. Like, that's all I got.
Are these attacks at reckless?
Yes, of course.
All right.
I do not drive.
What?
Reckless driving of my axe.
It's my axe.
25 definitely hits.
All right. Time for pain.
Bing, bing,
Oh,
bing.
shit.
Pain
I keep rolling ones.
Ooh.
7.
7. So it's 7
Slashing damage.
from this weapon. So it's 7 plus your rage bonus, which is 2, so 9.
Hey, now, with Blessed, do you add it to the roll attack, or can you roll it? Can you add it to the damage? No, you can't add it to the damage.
Attack
can you?
rolls, not to the damage.
Only
check.
attack rolls.
I
Yeah, it
figured.
doesn't add to damage.
You do get this axe that you're using. You do get a
$20.
+1 bonus to the damage and attack rolls. So
Yeah.
you'd be a total of 10 points of slashing damage.
Time for the pain. Slashing water.
All right, so 10 points of slashing damage.
Splish,
First
splash,
attack.
I was taking a bath. All
Swinging
around
my axe through
baby.
all the Swinging my axe, making some rain.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm just sad. I'm just sad. Reckless. Swing. 20?
20? Yeah. So it'd be, I mean, it still hits, but I think it'd be like 22
Yeah.
with
okay.
with the bonuses. So roll for damage, and whatever you roll, just add 3.
Ooh. Mix damage.
Ooh.
So 16 plus 2.
So 18 plus the 1 from the weapon is 19.
19 points of
Yeah.
water splashing damage.
Yeah, you're carving through this water, and like before, it's starting to like
Take that.
shrink in its size a bit. A little bit of
You're
displacement and morphity, and you're having a grand time. You're just like carnage. You're a little disappointed that this thing doesn't bleed,
Mm-hmm.
but you're just imagining that this whole thing is just
Oh, the
blood, and
water's
blood is
splashing.
going everywhere.
Do you bleed? No? I guess I'll go somewhere else.
Shucks.
Does that end your turn?
Uh-huh.
All right, Lark, it is yours.
Okay, Lark is gonna do what Lark does best.
Woohoo!
Mass healing word.
Thank you, holy lady.
Okay. So the mass healing word is a 3rd level spell. And let's mark that off. Mass healing word. Oh, sorry. Pardon me. That's
Healing
wrong.
in the word. Okay, word.
That is wrong.
Mass
Sorry.
healing word.
That was just healing word, not mass healing word. Here we go.
So up to 6 creatures of your choice that you can see within range regain hit points equal to
13. 13 hit points.
D4 plus your spellcasting modifier.
Yep. I have a D4 plus 9.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, she's
yeah.
a life
That's true.
healer.
Yeah, I was
She's-
just like,
yeah.
wait.
Oh!
So it's max.
Oh,
So-
shoot!
You essentially can heal yourself and the rest of your allies. Everybody gets 13 hit points.
Yeah, I don't get anything because I don't have any off me, so that's I'm fine.
I'm
Yeah.
back up to full.
Quit bragging,
Everybody
Lark.
Everybody gets 13 health points, but those that,
Super
didn't
chill,
lose anything, they're
cool.
just like, you feel this rejuvenating warmth just kind of coalesce over your body.
Does anyone else look like they're like really badly injured, or did that?
Moon?
From the looks of from the situation at hand, aside from Moon swapping animal forms,
Yeah.
Trovic, Zazel, and Ordain have taken like a couple of shots here and there, but it seems as though, at least for Trovic and Zazel, that most of their wounds have healed up from your spell.
It was only vodka.
So, does Moon look like she's below half? Again, need
That
to
is a-
ask.
I don't know. I have not been keeping track of the massive amount of hit points that Moon has.
Don't know.
I don't think
as I mean, as a whale, like you get the actual
s-
whale's hit points. Is that what happens?
Yeah, you get the whale's
Wow.
hit points on top of her own.
Yeah.
So she had the
Okay.
crocodiles,
I'm
lost
gonna
them all,
then
and now she's got all
move
the whales.
The AC's really low.
So is Moon okay? Is what I'm asking here.
Yeah, Moon looks pretty
The
good.
whale is clearly stronger than Moon is.
Okay.
At top shape.
Okay. So she's good. Okay, then probably what Lark is going to do is sort of like just move a little bit. Because she doesn't want to be hit.
Within the vicinity.
Yeah. So she might actually like back away here.
Okay. You still
She's
have
keeping an
your-
eye on things, but yeah.
Yeah, you still have your action if you want to do anything. You can do a cantrip if you want to cast another spell, or if you have other elements of your character you'd like to invoke.
You know
Completely
what?
up to you.
She has Sacred Flame.
Sure.
And I'm going to try and hit that. Actually, it's a dex saving throw of 15 on the shambling thing over there.
The giant mass of vegetation.
The shambling mound. Yes. And I can do it at 60 feet, so that shouldn't be a problem.
All right.
Damn.
It does have disadvantage at dex saves, if I remember correctly, because of fairy fire. Let me double check that
Is that what that is?
one.
No, it's just attack rolls have advantage.
Yeah, that's
on.
why I thought.
DM's rules. Guys.
Yeah, it's not an attack, technically. I mean, it is, but it's like a. Yeah,
Saving throw.
it's a saving
Yeah, it's a
throw.
saving throw, so it's
Yeah.
unfortunately has no advantage or disadvantage
That's
to
fine.
it. But the shambling mound has to make a dex saving throw, which most likely is going to fail. Wow. I rolled a natural 20 for 19. Does 19 win?
Yeah, it's okay. So never mind.
Way to jinx yourself, Matthew.
Well, it's got a huge negative dex bonus. Nice.
Yeah.
That's okay. It
And you
clearly
jinxed yourself.
fates. The fates decided that I was not going to hit it with a flame. That's okay.
It's,
Okay.
It's like-
you know,
Not
between
today!
Trovic, the water weird, the giant killer whale, there's like a small portion of this large mass of vegetation, then you're like trying to get that one spot, but
It's totally okay. Okay, so I'm done. I've
Okay.
moved. I've done my bonus action. That was my action. We're done.
all right. Okay. The shambling mound. It's going to shift its way around. It's
Oh, hi, Mark.
Watch out. Oh, hi, Mark.
hi, Mark. It's on this thing.
I don't get that reference.
I shouldn't know where that's from, but I've seen that movie way too many times. Because my friends wanted to torture me.
Oh, that's
It's an
mean.
amazing movie.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, it is something that you need to see once. Just to
Yeah.
believe
Just once.
that it was actually made.
I think they have like a documentary about it.
They do.
They do.
Oh my god.
Now I want to know.
It's a movie that Tommy Wiseau made called The Room.
Oh shit! Yes,
It's
I've
so
seen it.
bad. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad, it's good.
And-
As some people
Exactly.
would say.
I
And
think
then
I have
the,
seen it 3 times.
I have not
Yeah.
seen it.
You
Maybe
have
one
to.
day.
Yeah,
It's definitely not worth watching 3 times.
Not even once, but just the
Once
experience.
was worth it. Once was worth it because I couldn't believe that they actually
Like,
made this.
this was a thing.
But yeah. But he was touring for a while. He actually like did shows in theaters with
Oh
this
my
movie.
god, that's hilarious.
It was really funny. Yeah. Anyway.
The shambling mound, realizing that maybe the whale is a bit too big for it to deal with, gonna slowly around one way, sees Ordain with whatever eyes it possibly could have or not have.
Ordain. This is
Ordain.
when you run.
It's gonna make 2 slam attacks against
I
Ordain.
can take it.
Technically, it shouldn't be overlapping.
Why is
Be
it
like
back
this.
to Ordain? I heard it a lot.
Yeah, why is it going around the whale?
Because it's a huge mass of blubber. That is an 11 to hit.
That is not.
That
Alright,
looks so
second
bad.
attack. Second one is a 24.
that might hit.
Might. I'm gonna roll for damage just in case then. That's 10 points of bludgeoning damage. As you see, it's slow. It's fairly slow, but it's slawing around the bank of this whale. One mass of vegetation just kind of hits the ground next to you, but the second mass kind of just bursts out of, I don't know, its chest, its face, you're not even sure, just from the top of it, and just hits you like square in the jaw and into your chest, and just kind of like pushes you back a little bit. But that ends its turn. Top of the round, Luminary.
Are we gonna take a short break?
Do you guys want to take a break?
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
A little quick one.
Does it hurt, Carlin? Does it hurt?
I know we did start late. But
I got the bald head to
everyone.
work, so it's working.
Thanks for coming out and enjoying it so far, but we gotta all use the bathroom, or drink some water, or maybe have a luscious lark cookie.
Oh,
Gotta go.
yes.
We'll be right back in
My tonsils are
5-ish
freaking
minutes?
flirting. We'll be back
You know,
5-10 minutes.
deal with this
thanks.
disaster that's going on over here.
Hey, what happened to the stream? Where's the D&D?
Stay tuned, adventurers. We'll be right back.
Oh, I get it. Pee break.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Cool.
Hello.
We've all had a moment to refresh. And now let's start back at the top of the round. For round 3, Luminary, it is your turn. As she sneezes away her enemies.
Cough.
Could we have timed that better? No.
A
I started
blast of
dying
air.
like right as you said.
Poison
You're like
cloud.
luminary. I'm just dying in the background. All right. Well, I see that Azazel has 2 little crabs on him, so I'm gonna go over to the nearest crab, right here, and I'm gonna attack it twice with my scimitars.
Slash, 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 slash.
Yes. I'm gonna roll on D&D Beyond though because I don't understand Conjure that well.
2 scimitars on a crappy thing.
Okay, so the first one to hit is a 21.
Definitely hits.
Okay. And the second one to hit is a 14.
Yep, both hit.
Cool. The first one does 9 damage. And the
But a
second one...
single, I was going to say, but with a single swipe, you carve right through it, and it is no more. It is now in twain.
Cool.
However,
Oh.
You do take a d4 of acid damage, and that will be.
Flick that crabbing twine!
Twain's weird. Twain's weird.
I took how much
Party
damage?
time.
1 point of acid
Excellent.
damage.
1 point?
Yep.
Okay. Ouchies. That hurts.
Ouch, kippy boo.
Okay.
But you still
um,
have, you
He
still have your
doesn't
second
get
attack.
Okay, then I'm gonna move closer to the other one and try to swipe at it too. I guess I'll have to roll to attack for that one.
Yep.
Okay. Roll good.
Be
18.
Nice.
18 hits.
Okay.
Be nice to your dice.
And 5 damage.
Ooh, just enough. But you also take 3 points of acid damage.
Ouch.
Oof. That's what all that coughing was.
My retinas.
My lungs.
My lungs in the
Yeah, you. Between your, cloud of whirling blades and, blade in hand, easily dispatching these two. Like it's nobody's business.
Azazel, I have saved you. You are welcome.
I was in real danger there. I appreciate that.
I know. That's the end of my turn.
All right. Well, considering all the crab monsters are now dead, let's move on
Yay!
to this water weird.
No.
Does anybody have all the bay?
Did you use reckless last turn?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Oh crap. Right.
Yep.
The downside to reckless.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's the downside.
Uh-oh.
As it tries to. Wow. That's a first. I rolled 2 2s.
Oh, thank God.
For a 7.
What are you, a ballerina?
2 2s.
God.
What is it? Plie. Anyways.
This water weird has dreams.
Sachet Chante.
Too bad we're gonna take him away.
Yeah, it tries to grapple
During
you
Pride
again,
Month, no
and
less.
it can't make a purchase against you.
Damn.
But Ordain, it is your turn.
All right.
You currently have this large mass of vegetation in front of you, and this serpent-like water creature behind you.
Ordain
And you're
is
now boxed in
surrounded.
between the whale as well.
Between a whale and a weird place.
There it is.
Oh, what a weird place.
There it is.
There we go.
Bazinga.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and make my 2 attacks against the shambling mound.
All right, it is at advantage. Pepper is assisting you in this moment as he kind of just flies down and tries to distract the creature. It doesn't give you double advantage, but
Woo! Natural 20.
Oh.
Sick.
yeah.
20.
Yeah. So max of damage, re-roll it.
All right, so that'd be 14.
That's the whale.
Plus 6 plus an extra 6.
20 plus 6 is
soda.
20
Not
plus
enough water.
26.
And then plus 3 for
So-
the ice damage.
And then...
Okay, so only the ice damage is 3, but the rest of it is your sword?
Yep.
Alrighty.
And the second attack was 17.
That was... Yeah, you carve a nice chunk of this algae out and it just kind of falls to the ground in a wet heap. But second attack.
The second attack I rolled was a 17.
17 hits.
All right. Oh, my bad. I wish. Rolled the wrong thing. Why did I roll 2? I rolled 2d10. I just want 1.
You don't get 1d10.
There we go. That'd be 11 plus 1d6. And that will be 17 damage.
Once you roll the 6?
Yep.
Okay. All right, you carve another piece of this plant life out of this shambling mound. You're able to cut through it. Doesn't seem like the ice damage seems to be doing a lot to it, but your blade is easily enough reaping through it.
Alright.
That is your action. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No, that'll be it for now.
Okay, Moon, it is your turn. Azazel, you are on deck.
Alright, so the killer whale is going to bite at the weedy thing.
Sure, you do have advantage because it is fairy fired.
Okay.
As the whale kind of like slowly shifts in place, kind of like hopping at moments, to just get its mouth around, and then takes a bite out of the shambling mounds behind. 26 definitely hits.
Yeah,
Takes a bite
25.
out of crime.
I was gonna say, is it a bad guy? Because it's crime.
It's great.
Wow, it's a lot of. There's a lot of dice.
And 26 damage.
26
Nice.
damage. Yeah, you take a chunk out of this thing and you're just chewing and eating it slowly. And at this point, its body is slowly diminishing between, Ordain carving it up in the front and you eating it from behind.
It looks at you and it's
Well,
like,
he's making salad for me.
Yep.
"You're a monster."
Pretty much. Is there anything else you can do this turn?
Nope, that will be my whole turn thing.
All right, Azazel, you're up. Trovik, you're on deck.
Oh boy.
Cool. After thanking Luminary for totally saving my life there,
I know, right?
I'm going to bonus action cast Misty Step just to bamf to the other side of this water weird. So I'll
Okay.
be in,
See how
like,
it is.
flanking
Yep.
with Trovik.
The other side of the
Uh,
shore.
Yes. And then I'll just take my action to do two of my short sword attacks, one of them being a booming blade.
Burning blade.
And would these be at advantage now?
No, this one was not fairy fired. It was the previous one.
Oh, okay. I was trying to get like flanking, but
Remember, you do get an extra D4 though.
I do get the D4s though. So yeah,
Mhm.
Somebody use that before.
I guess I don't need it. That's a 27 without the D4 and
Jeez.
a 31 with the D4.
Yeah, it's there. It's present. It's like you could just close your eyes and swing and hit it.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Love it. Oh, sweet the sound. that
I mean,
shakes
close
right
your
like me.
eye. You
That is
blind
9
bastard.
piercing damage plus 8 thunder damage
And
plus
Oh no.
5 cold damage
and
And then.
second attack.
Oh no.
That is a 26 to hit.
Definitely hits.
Blizzards are scary.
Cool.
This
This
wizard
one
is
is-
scary.
Yeah, this
wizard is scary. That is 7 piercing damage
and
plus
And
7 cold damage.
and
then.
That's all I got.
Uh,
Well then, oh sweet, it's dead.
You carve through it, and with the spirits themselves, the spectral little owls, they kind of just and just piece this. It's almost like rain falling, but then it immediately begins to evaporate again, like the previous one, and
Cool.
just
there goes
disappears.
lunch.
And then Pepper's gonna take his turn to just fly over by this tree,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gonna hold that help action for the next time I take a. Well, it's fairy fired, so just the next time I take a melee action, why not?
All right.
That's
For
my
the
turn.
MVP.
All right.
Listen, when a blade singer like hits their target, they hit their target.
Mhm. Especially when you have all those extra little
Yep.
tidbits of damage assisting. But Trovik, it is your turn. Larg, you are on deck.
What's left?
Currently, the only thing that's remaining is a half-eaten shambling mound.
Cool. I'll attack the whale.
Finish that.
No,
Wait a minute.
I'm kidding. Fine. I'm gonna make
Throwback
my whale.
Slayer.
I mean, make my way. Jesus.
Making my
That
way.
was unintentional, I swear.
Making my way downtown.
Grr.
15, 20. Trovik can't count.
So this is that many feet he moves to attack the lunch. Because Trovik is vegetarian.
Oh.
Are these reckless?
Side attack.
Of course they're reckless. Is there any other way?
Never.
You don't even have to do this reckless.
I really don't, but you know, it's
Give
just
Trovik a giant
principle. And you know what I'm gonna do? With advantage, roll my d4. You know, oh, thank God. Yeah, I'm gonna roll that d4.
Ooh.
Please.
10 unfortunately does not.
Wait, I'm rolling my d4. 14.
Ooh.
14 unfortunately does not.
Don't you have inspiration?
Do you have inspiration?
Add that D8.
Haven't used
Oh
it.
yeah!
You have that inspiration.
That inspiration. Like, wait a minute, I can do this. Trovik can do this.
It's like that moment of Luminary's voice, kind of like, "Go kill that thing."
Right.
How to
then
turn
you
how to
hear-
turn a natural 3 into an 18 to hit. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And then
Yes.
Trovik, you also hear another voice say, "Yes, kill it."
Oh my god.
What the shit?
But 18 definitely
What?
hits.
Okay.
And this is kind of like you have this feeling inside you that just tells you that.
Max damage.
Oh my god.
16 points of slashing damage.
Plus
I don't care how
2.
cursed this.
So 18.
Plus 2. Right?
So 19. So you roll the 16.
Yeah.
Plus 2 from your rage, plus 1 from the axe. So,
So, yeah.
19. 19
That's-
points of slashing damage. You
that's
just
attack
I don't-
numero uno.
Mhm.
I don't care how cursed this axe is. It's doing really well.
I don't normally hit plants, but when I do, dos wackies.
That one hurt a little. That one hurt just a little.
No, not a little, a lot.
Yeah,
That
okay.
hurt a lot.
Yeah, it did.
It hurt a little.
Roll your next attack.
Oh! We got a natural 20!
Hell yeah.
Whoop, whoop, nat 20!
I have a feeling I'm not needed anymore.
Aw.
No, you
sit
are
back,
muted.
relax, and watch the show.
Alright, what's your max damage, including your modifier?
So 18?
You roll a what?
Wait.
What's your
Yeah,
die roll?
D12 plus 4. So 16.
16 plus 2 plus 1 is 19. So now roll the dice. Roll the d8 again.
Oh boy.
You can do it, Trovik.
Oh, pff.
Well, I guess you can't do it, Trovik.
But it's one. It might have been that one. It might have been that
Unfortunately, it
one.
was not that one.
Oh.
Aw.
Yeah, you're
You
hacking
needed
and
that
slashing
too.
this thing away. It's your lunch. You're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kill this thing. It's that urge, that natural urge that you have.
I am
That
going to
that orcish fury, that
bonus action.
bonus action.
Don't bite it, please.
Hammering horns.
Okay.
All right.
Section.
Yeah.
Put some.
And I ram
put some
him.
ranch on it.
Some salt.
A little bit of salad dressing.
Yeah, I ran him.
What is that? Is that an attack roll or is that a strength?
It's a
check?
strength saving throw for that dude.
Strength saving throw.
Get some popcorn. Oh, sorry to let you down, folks.
That is a total of 8.
Yeah, no, it's not going to save. And I push him 10 feet away from me.
Woof.
Whee!
He kind of slides, crashes into the side of the tree. The tree shakes, and you can see a handful of the petals kind of fall, and just kind of partially
Ooh.
submerged. And
Can we get an OA from that?
God damn.
is he gonna what?
Do I get an OA from that?
It is technically forced movement.
Mm-hmm.
I go for it. Why not?
Whoop, whoop.
Normally it wouldn't, but what the hell? Why not? Let's make it
I
fun.
didn't order this to go. Oh.
It's curbside, bro. We bring it to you.
What did you get?
Curbside, curb stomp.
Yeah.
21? Yeah, 21 definitely hits.
Oof. Oh God! What in the hell?
Every time she rolls that damage.
That many. I bite it for that many.
24 points of damage. Moon, do you finish this thing?
I eat it all.
Wait. Don't you say like, how do you want to chew this?
No, I don't.
Oh!
No, I don't.
Good night, folks. I'm out of here.
And
I'll be here all week. Have a deal.
Unfortunately, disconnect. We've gotten I don't know.
We're getting notification from
We're
Twitch.
getting to say like, no, you're banned.
Dad puns are not allowed.
Do you finish this creature?
Yes, I will.
All right. As
Nom nom nom.
you're gonna just kind of like chew on it.
Yeah.
All right. As Trovik, you hack into it, feeling this orcish fury that you've always had, that you've been holding back for the longest time, but now letting it out, almost like being encouraged to let it out.
I did kind of want to push it towards the whale's mouth anyway. So
Take a step back, smash this thing with your head, and force it away. And as it moves a few feet away, it just Moon is there, readily able and mouth ajar as you smash it right into Moon's jaw, and with a final and
whale.
You hear a very strange whale burp come out.
Of which side?
Well, I'm never eating salad again.
But so it seems you are no longer in any sort of form of threat.
Well,
we are out of combat.
Well, that certainly happened.
What did Trovik hear the axe say?
Dang.
You heard
I didn't
almost
learn
this
anything from this.
internal voice kind of just speak to you, yes, kill it. After like remembering the words that Luminary had said, like, go kill that thing. And it's just like encouraging you, yes, kill it.
Okay. Whew.
Moon will wag her whale tail to splash everyone.
Okay, yep.
Stop it.
That's very nice, Moon. She's so terrible. Teenagers scare the living shit out of me.
They could care less.
Lark is pretty far back, but I think she gets splashed anyway.
Less as long as someone will bleed.
Yep.
Yeah, Lark, you're the only one who doesn't get wet, but everybody else gets doused in a little bit of this pond water. And at this point, the water has receded at least a good 8 feet. And is now just recessed onto the shoreline. You can see the edges of, well, the pond itself, but...
Well, there are less things in it besides a whale.
I mean...
So with the reduced water level, just like from a quick scan, does Azazel see anything like
treasure
out of
chests?
place? Anything that looks like it might be like anything that seems like it was artificially placed there that might have any sort of connection to how we're supposed to get into this place?
Good idea.
It doesn't look like, with your passives, it doesn't seem to be anything out of place aside from, the remaining creatures themselves. The water, obviously the elementals are gone, evaporated. The shambling mound has been eaten. There's just the 3 remaining monstrous crabs that you have previously encountered prior, which kind of gives you that connecting point again where, if these are here and this is where she was, and what she was saying previously, that she was connected to this individual creating these monsters, then yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
But nothing about here in this pond, even just kind of like wading through the shallower parts and even part of the somewhat deeper waters here. Nothing that you can find that seems out of place or artificially planted.
Okay.
Did we just come here for like absolutely nothing but to just fuck up some monsters and then leave?
No, there's got to be something here. This was her base of operations, and it very well still could be. We just need to figure out what exactly we're looking for, and then find it.
It probably helped if Moon wasn't, a giant whale in the middle of the pond, so we can see more of the pond. Moon.
I roll over, kind of like back them there, and they get like moved around.
Are you rolling around in spot, or are you trying to roll over to get to the shoreline?
A bit of both.
Which way are you rolling?
This area, and then try to roll around.
Okay, which way are you rolling?
Up left.
Up left, okay.
Uh-oh.
Because you got your party members on either side of you.
Look out!
You see Moon just kind of like rocking in place, splashing the water around a little bit, and then just slowly.
Oh God, she's so close.
And then
Moon kills all the guys.
The crab monsters are now pancakes, essentially, just the bloody pancakes.
The
the
Guise
water.
of Untamed Beasts. Whale kills Guise of Untamed Beasts.
Speaking of crabs, can go ahead and just like take that one crab that I killed. Just like carefully cut off its leg so its acid doesn't splash out onto me.
Okay, make a.
Crab legs?
I'll say make a dexterity check for this. Just roll a d20, add your dex mod.
Oh heck no.
As you're kind of like carving into it.
Oh heck
Nope.
no. That's a 9.
No, you're doing your best to try and avoid the acidic nature of the blood. It's only 1 point of acid damage. You kind of get a little bit on your hand. It burns, but you quickly just kind of like grit your teeth through it, cut off the leg, and just pull back as you watch it kind of like sizzle and spot a little bit.
Ordain, don't
Crab
do it.
legs.
No. That's so
Yeah,
gross.
those things have acid blood. I'd highly advise not doing that.
I mean,
Ordain.
if we cook it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know what? You give that a try. And just make sure that L.O.R.E is right next to you when you do that.
Okay.
Moon is gonna turn back into herself,
Yay!
and then
You're
like
not you when you're hungry. Have a salad.
Yeah!
That's all
Oh, that's when you hand her the Snickers. Hangry?
Eat a shambling mound. So yeah, Moon, you turn back into your ASMR self.
the water was pretty nice.
Did what?
Yeah,
The water was pretty nice.
Oh.
I'm sure it was nice with all those monsters right next to you too.
Wait, that was you? The giant big fishy?
Yes, they're called whales.
Oh. It is good that
Also, they're
you...
not technically fish. They're actually mammals.
I was going to...
Hazel, where are you going?
I'm
whack
looking
the big
around.
fish next.
Have we checked that fountain that's up there?
Where?
This
By
one
you,
over here.
Hazel.
Let
Yeah.
me take a look.
Investigate it. Maybe it's a key.
I would like to investigate the fountain, see if there's anything weird, out of the ordinary.
I'm gonna
any-
say that it's not a perfect map. There's really a fountain there. It would probably be
Wow.
more of a thicker brush of grass in that
I've
area.
not
There's a
lied
Almost
to
fountain
you.
here.
I've been lied to. Well, I'm sorry. It looked like a fountain.
That's fair.
from
That's
here.
fair. I didn't specify. I may have said that a month and a half ago, but
Yeah, yeah.
who's gonna remember that?
That's why I was
a
like,
month
oh
and a half
god,
later?
what did I already inspect here?
You and Moon went into
Because
the
I know we went
cave
into
opening.
the crevice a bit.
It was
and we
dark
couldn't
in there.
find
You had no
anything.
light source, and even though the two of you can have dark vision, you were kind of stumbling around in the dark.
Okay.
You didn't really find any. You found maybe a spot where she could have slept. Maybe somewhat like a table that you felt like roots. It's possible maybe you have another look, or
Yeah.
use a light
Um,
source.
Yeah, does anyone here can anyone like make light? Is that a thing? Like torch or magic wise at all?
I can.
Cool. You want to go check out that cave?
Sure.
I'll make your
Yeah.
whatever you're holding in your hand. I'll just touch it and make it light, and be like, "Go ahead."
I now have a lightsaber. Sick.
I have
Nice.
light as well, but I mean, it's
Touche.
a
I mean,
a
you all-
cantrip, so
All of you can, whatever forms, if you all have light, you definitely all go in there and light up the entire cave.
sure. Let's go
All right.
in and light it up.
All right, all 6 of you go in there with the numerous light sources, spell or otherwise. This small, slightly sunken cave in this hillside illuminates greatly. And at this point now, you can see every nook and cranny, so to speak. The outline, the shape of it's larger than what you thought, but definitely a small little abode. You can definitely see on the back area where you thought you found like a bedded area. You can see like almost looks like a series of leaves and plants and whatnot, maybe a blanket used as a sleeping spot. There is a single chair off to the left, and what you had previously guessed, your assumptions were correct. The tree that sits above the hillside here, the roots are sprouting through this section of the sunken cave here and forming what looked to be like a table, possibly used to write on. I will say, with Moon's passive perception and even, Zazel with your passive investigation score, the two of you kind of pick up, now that you have the light readily available, you see in the roots, hidden within the roots of the tree that are kind of like embedded, you see like it looks to be a scrap of paper or a rolled up piece of parchment.
Well, let's have a little looky at that, and I'm gonna pick up the parchment and I'll open it up.
All right. You open this small piece of paper and it's just a series of text. If you are reading this, then once again these creatures have failed to do as they are assigned. Though I admire your group's strength and persistence to interject with my personal objectives, regardless of what purpose you assigned yourself to me and my dealings, I will not relent on hindering you in your pursuit. So if you wish to continue this drawn-out exchange, survive long enough in these wilds to find me at the Blade Garden. Best pay your respects.
Yeah, I do not care for her. She's very goading us on right now. This is, I read that to everyone and I say, yeah, so that's
So do you actually believe that she's in the Blade Gardens, or?
I believe that there's something in the Blade Gardens and that it would be a step towards finding her, I bet. She's a very confident person. I really don't think she'd be sending us on a cold trail like that. Because we're a thorn in her side. We've become a thorn in her side, and she's gonna want to kill us. So she must think that either the journey to the Blade Gardens or the Blade Gardens themselves are gonna be able to kill us.
Definitely a trap.
Scavenger hunts.
Oh man, this is a very deadly scavenger hunt.
My favorite kind.
Oh gosh, it's been a while since I've looked at the map. Where's the Blade Gardens?
I will say, anyone who is proficient in history, make a history check for me.
Cool. Natural 20.
I am proficient in history.
Nice.
I am not.
I'm half proficient.
In what?
I'm proficient in everything.
History.
Oh.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
technically
you
a
and me
proficiency.
both.
You're more than welcome to roll. So I got an Azazel with a 23, an Ordain with 8, Luminary with 16.
Mhm.
Ordain, you're a little unfamiliar with this region of the country. You come from a little bit further away, and the Blade Garden, you're not sure if it's a literal or fictional locale. You're not sure if it's an actual garden or something more. The name sounds pretty cool, though. Luminary, you feel as though you might have heard it once in passing, or maybe you read it somewhere. You're not 100% sure. Maybe it was from
Probably
gossip.
drunk somewhere.
It could have been drunken banter that you've heard one night at a tavern after you were performing for the crowd. It's definitely located somewhere, rumored to be in the Tyranny Open Wilds, but it's one of those locations of myth, almost not necessarily a legend, but something that's maybe a fantasy or a fairy tale that people sometimes use to spook anyone that decides to wander off into the wilds to either live, scrounge, or otherwise. It's like another possible threat to keep them back in civilized territory. Azazel, being the bookish sort that you are, the investigator, essentially the detective, you obviously are from these lands. I think he's listening to somebody else. Do you want me to repeat that?
He's from another land right now. No.
Considering this is you live in this country, you are the bookish type, you have grown up with an extensive amount of knowledge, you are a detective, you have researched many things to kind of always be one step ahead. The Blade Garden is a location somewhere in the Tyranny Open Wilds. It's an old site, many decades ago, even centuries ago, where supposedly arguably the last resistant wild folk of this region had banded together to try and destroy a lot of the new civilized settlements, such as Samyaza, Boamar, and the like, seeing as they were encroaching on their lands, taking over the natural world. There was a rumor that the leading individual of this band of wild folk was a druid hell-bent on keeping the balance of nature. Eventually, after very many skirmishes, the military, the guards of the Empire, when it was still young, were able to corner this individual by an old tree where practically everybody perished in the aftermath of the battle. And it's almost honored as a place of respect, as a graveyard of sorts, where those that know of its location go there and plant a blade of a fallen ally as a sign of respect to nature, both to satiate the old druid spirit that supposedly still lingers there, along with keeping it satisfied and showing that civilized world still has the upper hand at times, and that it should be, nature is not greater than civilization, but civilization is not greater than nature. You gather it is more of a literal sense in terms of the Blade Garden. It's more of just a name, but it is in fact, from what you've read, an actual graveyard of weapons surrounding an old oak tree where this druid took his last stand.
Okay. I relay all of that information to the group very succinctly, very nice. Not gonna just repeat everything again, but go.
No, please go on.
And so that's the history of the Blade Garden, and that's I think there might be a bit of a connection here between our whoever is behind all of this toying with nature and that old druid. I don't know for sure, but I have a hunch that might be a bit of a connection there. If this is a significant place to this person, then it's going to be a dangerous thing we're walking into.
Can we take a sword, though? That's the real question.
Do one of you guys have someone who died recently? You want to put their sword in the ground? Is that?
I think she actually means she wants to take one of the swords.
I want to take the sword.
But I think your idea has more merit.
That feels really disrespectful to take a sword out of the ground there.
Maybe borrow it, but
That's like
respectfully
stealing
planted
someone's headstone
afterwards.
from the cemetery. That's like
Okay, now that you put it that way,
Not good.
maybe I won't.
Where
But I
Trolde
like
come
your
from,
idea.
it is orc tradition to take piss on dead body to show approval of warriors' great strength. But also to remind their dead soul that they
I
were
don't
the
think
one
that means what you think it
lost the
means.
battle. No?
It served you so well in the past.
You know,
Okay.
I'm not gonna
Just gonna go eat
belittle
my
your
cookies.
culture. That's a cultural barrier, and that's okay if that's how you show respect. That all right, yeah.
It is not like long hot piss. It is just, short little pee-pee for to show.
I'm sorry, what?
This
All right, well,
just-
Trovic's talking about his short little pee-pee. Does Azazel know the general actual location of the Blade Garden?
Oh, why did I say that?
I couldn't tell you, buddy.
Okay.
Oh,
Sure.
wow.
You're not certain. It's from what you've read and what you've learned of
Oops.
the location. It's kind of hidden away. There have been very few individuals that have happened upon it. Some have sought it out. You're not sure if they've actually found it and returned, or whether they survived being out in the wilds. It's kind of a bit of a mystery. It's something that you feel does exist, though the location has never really been found since, considering it's a few centuries old.
Wait, what was the last part of her message there?
You better
The
pay your respects.
best pay your respects.
Ah, okay,
So
well,
we should bring a weapon.
yeah, we better have something to put in the ground there. I suspect something not so nice will happen if we don't.
I mean,
a good idea.
Respect
Yeah.
can also come in many other forms
What is
than just an offering.
It doesn't usually come in stealing of weapons.
I didn't say
just
that.
so that we're aware.
I didn't say that. That
I
was
didn't
her
say that.
idea,
I mean,
not mine.
specifically,
That wasn't my
spec-
idea.
Specifically in the context of the Blade Garden, I think we're supposed to be planting a sword.
Yeah.
So
Does it have to be sword?
Is it a weapon?
From history, it's always been a sword. It seems.
Does it have to have been a sword that they wielded in life?
Based on the history that Azazel learned, it's when someone has come and happened upon the Blade Garden, whether they sought it out or just it was there, they usually sought it out to plant a blade or a weapon of some kind, usually a longsword, of a fallen warrior, whether they were a guard, soldier, barbarian, anything really.
Well, we happen to
It's-
know of several kids who lost their lives for no reason other than they existed.
Trovic will disappear for a little bit and go grab crab leg with claw. Arm. Crab arm.
So
So I wonder if we planted something for the kids. Although I don't know if I would call that
I mean-
warriors.
If we have any other backup blades, I could plant mine.
I would say, Lark, with your passive insight, kind of like reading over the note again, and just in a way, she is goading you,
Mm-hmm.
all because she knows that you're after her. So it's like, all right, this is where I'm going to be. Come find me. In terms of the latter part of the message, the best pay your respects, you could take it one of two ways, whether it's the more literal sense in this is a sacred place from what Azazel has told you and that you should pay your respects, or a play on her words saying you should be more respectful of me.
oh, I thought it was.
It
a
could be one
thinly
way or the
veiled
other.
Yeah.
threat.
I'm
Yeah.
sure she wishes it would be the latter.
Probably a mixture.
Yeah. We'll have to think about that. On our way.
We can think about that. So, we'll have to search out an old oak tree. What do you think? We should head back to Ramlo and sort of get a good lay of the land and at least have a direction of where we're supposed to look? Or do you want to head out from here and just start exploring?
Are we closer here?
I don't know where it is.
Oh, I thought you did. Oh, all right. How do we find
it's
it?
a place that's of significant cultural import, but the people that supposedly seek it out and find it, they don't say too much about it, because it's usually a warrior planting a weapon for another warrior, and most warriors aren't too keen on letting their sacred spot known to non-warriors, you know?
But how are we supposed to find this place? And isn't it essentially like a fantasy almost? Like some people just kind of talk rumors about it. Like I've only heard certain stories.
Well, something I'll also add maybe to jostle on memory. The Tyranny Open Wilds, because it encompasses almost 90% of this province itself, is just wildlands, grasslands, forests, and whatnot. The reason why nobody likes going in there is because it's untamed land. They don't know what's in there. There are a handful of, albeit landmarks, that most are privy to. Not necessarily easy to get to, but anyone who usually goes out into the Tyranny Open Fields does so at the risk of, surviving out there in a dangerous land of monsters, creatures, and whatever else lives in there. It's unmapped, uncharted territory. So that could be also the reason why that no one really is certain on where the location of the Blade Garden is. They know
and she said if you can go in there and survive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are, albeit I would argue and say tribes of people that live out in the wilds. No one knows where they are exactly. No one knows if they're actually alive, if they survived. But people have gone out to live a more robust lifestyle, I would say. Away from civilized locations.
I wonder, Moon, Lark, do the farmlands have anyone who's ventured out into the wilds? Any sort of hunters that go certain I'm trying to think if maybe we want to try and find a guide to narrow down our search a little bit. If we could find someone from Ramlo, or if we go back to Boamar and see if one of the hunters could help us out there.
Do we know of anyone, Matt?
Yeah.
In which locale?
Well,
Either
where
or?
we came from, I guess, is where we
Well, Ramlo is a settlement of farmers. Most of them reside in their own home turf, and even then, it's anything that comes out of the wilds is usually more southern based because of the mountains and the presence of the Goliaths. You might have a better time finding someone in Boamar, as their whole culture there is almost based on going into the wilds themselves to find beasts. You're not sure how far they go out, but I would say the odds are more in your favor with someone from there than unless you want to attempt to seek out someone who is familiar with it in Ramlo or has visited.
Would my druid teacher be a good contact, or I don't know what kind of life he led before, so.
My druid professor.
I think he would be a good starting point. He's obviously can't remember if he was actually a druid or not, or he was just teaching you. I'll have to check back on my notes, unless you remember.
Yeah.
He was a druid, right?
I just know that he was magic. I don't know if he was.
Okay. He was teaching you the ways of nature in itself. You weren't 100% certain if he was a druid, but he definitely has an understanding of nature in its natural, wildest form. You could go speak to him, and maybe he might relay some of his experiences. He's mentioned in the past that he has gone out in certain areas, never too far, almost like, especially when he was a lot younger, to kind of like go a little bit at a time, then come back, then go a little bit further, kind of come back. And
the other town that you mentioned that we might go to, would he have mentioned that place as well? Would he have been there before and maybe told me about it?
I would say, if anything,
like,
if he's...
maybe he has friends there, and so I'm like, oh, like, I know one person in this town through affiliation, and I will ask everybody about this person, and maybe it'll work.
I'm gonna think on that because I'm not 100% sure. I'll definitely say that he's very familiar with Boamar. He's been there a handful of times, and he knows that it's a very nature-centric settlement. He could, if you ask him, he could probably point you in the direction of maybe 2 or 3 people. That'd be like, okay, if I can't give you the information you need, or if I can't show you where you need to go, then maybe if you go talk to A, B, and C in Boamar, you could find someone else, or maybe they'll be able to help you. This is also me trying to think. I'm like, okay, what would be more viable for you guys?
Alright, so I'll relate to the rest of the group, like, oh, well, you know, my teacher, maybe he knows people from other town that could do more stuff that he doesn't know. Could be useful.
It's a good resource. That's a promising lead.
Do we want to go back there then and ask?
I think so. We're closer to Ramlo than we are to Boamar anyway, so heading back
we
there
might
first
end up
is a good
going
place
to
to start.
Bomar after, but
yeah. We've got
I'll
friends
go wherever
in
you guys
Boamar.
go.
That's good.
All
It's better to stick together.
Yeah, especially because, well, I don't know. You guys that joined the group recently, I don't know if she's fully aware of your guys' involvement, but if she is, you guys have targets on your back now, so sorry about that.
Do you think she'd like to get drunk with me? Or is she not that kind of person?
You know,
no, I don't think so.
The last time she tried to kill us, I didn't think to ask her for a pint, so I kind of...
Yeah.
You know, maybe if you did, the problem would be resolved. Maybe that's all she wants, is a drinking buddy.
You know, I would have tried to offer her a cookie, but I didn't have that opportunity either, so.
True.
You know, sometimes you just miss these things.
I'll say Lark and Moon.
Special.
Make a history check at advantage.
Ooh.
So I was just checking some of my other notes as well.
That would be a 16.
16?
Yeah.
What'd you get, Moon?
I got a 9.
9.
Oh.
That's okay. You're not 100% certain, but thinking it over, kind of like going through the recesses of your mind, obviously for you, Moon, it's the first person you thought of was Brandon, your teacher. Lark, you kind of think for a moment, based on the situation at hand and where you're going, there was a rumor a little while back that you know him as Lodrin, who is a very prominent merchant within Ramlo. He kind of like maintains a lot of the logistics of transporting many of the crops, vegetation, and produce around the country.
Did you say?
Yes, his name is Lodrin Dane.
Lodrin Dane. Okay.
Ask your doctor if Lodrin's right.
Modrin, yeah. I was gonna say
yeah.
It's Modrin IV.
Oh, jeez.
Modrin IP.
Yeah, he's an orcish male in his mid-years, give or take. Has a family there. You recall his wife Eliza. There was a rumor a while back that he used to be some sort of mercenary, whether it was he was a sellsword or he worked for somebody, or he was part of the old guard.
Okay.
You're not 100% sure, but that kind of just brings it up. that kind of like jostles a memory. Maybe it's the location you're going to. Maybe it's trying to pick out someone from Ramlo that might be able to assist you in some way.
Okay. Well, I'll make the suggestion to people. There's a fellow in town we might be able to ask about this. He used to be a sellsword, I think, or some kind of a soldier.
He sells swords.
And he's a merchant now. So he's been a lot of places, and he might know something about the place that we're going. And
Another promising lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, any information is good information.
Trovik say if we are not going right away to kill Tree Lady, then we go somewhere else. So this sounds good for going to somewhere else, yes?
Yeah.
May as well ask. We'll be in the same place. We can ask both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. We can conduct a couple interviews when we get back.
Kill 2 dogs with 1 stone, yes.
That's not the phrase.
I don't.
That's not the phrase.
And I would offer the dogs cookies, so.
Why would
You
you
know.
offer dogs cookies? I don't think they
Because
can
they
eat
like
cookies.
them.
They can eat cookies?
Yeah.
Peanut butter.
Sugar cookies.
Peanut butter for sure. Just saying.
Okay.
Just can't give
Dogs
them
have liked
chocolate.
my cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All
The more
right.
you know.
The more you know.
So
They also drink beer.
Let's,
I know this for a fact. I'm just saying.
Drunk dog.
I babysat a dog and got him really fucked up on my birthday one day.
That sounds pleasant.
Both.
Lovely.
I mean, is it really your dog if you don't get drunk with it at least once?
It was pretty cool because it would run at you, and then it was so drunk its front legs would give up, but its back still ran. So it was just like running with its face in the dirt. Just
All I can imagine
Yo,
is
you
like,
put
poor
that dog.
dog.
You put that dog in rear wheel drive, homie.
all I can imagine is
What
like
kind of dog was it?
What's the dog doing?
boxer or pit.
Oh,
like,
that's worse.
Flat face into the flat ground.
It was
Oh,
a super cool dog, though. I loved it. Like,
this hangover starring you and the dog.
yeah, The Hangover.
Oh god.
The
The
Hangover.
dog's got the
4.
Mike Tyson tattoo, and it's like,
Mhm.
ruh-roh, Raggy.
Chris, what you gave me today?
Really? Beer, gluten free?
Oh boy, what did you
Anyway.
start, Chris?
I don't know. Sorry.
All right,
Sorry.
so
Before we end off for tonight's session, it does sound like you guys have a few leads. I actually just thought of 2 other ones you could possibly ask. You obviously have Moon's teacher Brannon in Ramlo and Lodrin Dane, a prominent merchant who lives in Ramlo. You could also ask Grizz, one of Orn's commune members who lives in Semyaza, who was mentioning that in the past many of the lizard folk had dispersed across the region. Some of them have ventured out into the Tyranny open wilds. You could also ask, which would also be an ideal candidate, is Merlet in Boamar. Having being a druid herself and having such a connection to nature, she might be able to assist you in some way.
I don't think I ever met Merlet. Did I? I don't think I was part of the group at that
Merlet's
point.
chill. You were not.
You did. You did.
Did I?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
you
not
met her
sure
once,
if
I
you
think.
conversed with her, but when you were freed from the Jackalwares by the group, all of you did head back to Boamar, and Azazel did break down the news of what happened over the past couple of days to Merlet, who is the leader of Boamar, who kind of looks after it. She is a centaur woman.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh.
So we'll basically just be retracing our steps until we find a good source for this. Alrighty.
I guess.
Otherwise, you could also, considering you're 3 days into the Tyranny Wilds, you could also attempt to find it on your own, based on your
That
own
sounds
survivability.
like a bad idea.
That sounds like work, Matt.
I am just displaying all the options at your disposal.
That sounds
We're already
horde.
You're already
So-
here. That is
Horde.
true.
Yeah.
Horde,
I don't know.
lots of things to think.
Azazel likes a good resource. He likes a good source.
As long as any place is tavern for ale.
Ale sounds good.
All right.
Killing things puts on big appetite, makes Trolik very thirsty.
Well, while the
wouldn't
six
like
of
me
you
when I'm
are
thirsty.
weighing your options and choices, while you're here within this small sunken hillside, thinking on how you're going to find this locale that the tree speaker has mentioned, we are going to end it for tonight, and we will reconvene in 2 weeks' time, same day, same time.
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now,
Folks, you hear that, folks?
Same bat day, same bat channel.
Same bat day,
That's
same
right.
bat channel. But thank you everybody who stayed and watched and joined us for the the continuation of this story. And again, if you want to hear what happened in between while we were off camera, I will definitely, you can always hit me up on Discord in the channel, in the L.O.R.E channel, and I will do my best to get those audio recordings done. I have a few so far. But thank you all. Chris,
Yeah.
be so kind. Your motto.
Oh,
Your
sure.
motto.
Of course, yes.
Lead us out.
Don't forget your Ovaltine. Bye.
Oh,
No.
I hope you got your decoder rings for that one.
Okay.
Don't.
Thanks for coming.
Spread the word, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And be good to each other. Be awesome and beat hate with love.
Bye and happy Pride Month, everybody.
Pride
Yeah,
Month.